Hello, my name is Alex. I love this challenge from Los, and in honor of him, I'm going to film this in my car. And just to try to make a long story short, man, I could go on for days on just some cool stuff that God has done to just reassure my faith, though He has no obligation to do so. Long story short, uh, through some bad decisions of my own and my wife's, we just have really bad credit, and pretty much like maybe a lot of you guys live kind of paycheck to paycheck. So we've been renting for my whole life. I've rented, and my parents don't just began to even own their house about 8 years ago. But anyway, um, about a year ago, the people that we were renting from for the last 6 years came to us and said, "Hey, upon this next lease agreement, we are not going to renew because we're going to sell the house." And so I don't know if you guys have in Georgia, especially in Metro Atlanta and where we live in like the North Metro area. Renting houses is just crazy. Like, I'm talking about like crazy to us. Upwards of like 2 grand a month for a family like us. We have 4 little kids, so we're a family of 6. And so we just started looking, and man, we just could not afford anything. So we're like, all right, so we're gonna have to look into buying a house. Well, one of the things that I've messed up on is my federal student loan. And I don't know if you know this or anything, but if you mess up on your federal student loan, it puts you on a blacklist, so you can't get any like federal assistance with a home loan. So just we've been trying and trying and trying, and just could not find any ways to do a mortgage. And my credit wasn't so bad enough to where I couldn't have gotten it approved that way, but the federal thing blocked it. So it was getting down to the wire. Then my dad got involved, and he was stepped up and said, "Look, I'll I want to help you get a house." So we were excited. We're like, "Yeah." So then here comes that, and because they're treating it as a second mortgage, they wanted like an astronomical amount down from us. It was going to be like 20%, 15% at least. And I don't know if you looked at houses lately, but you can't even get anything worth living in for less than 200 grand. And around here, if you even change the thing to less than 200 grand, like nothing even pops up. So man, we were getting really, really, really discouraged. We looked at a few houses that were within our budget, and when I tell you that these places weren't livable, I mean, like, I'm not being prideful. I'm saying, like, there were trash bags in the bathrooms. It was like a 2 bedroom, 1 bath hut. And so we were just getting really, really discouraged. And my dad had been mentioning to us looking into these manufactured homes, and the pride in us was like, no, we're not gonna mess with that. So anyway, we started looking into it, and one of the qualifications that you need to have some property. So a friend of ours from church, just a really great Christian lady, has been doing some things and reached out to us and said, "Hey, I really feel led to have you come look at some property of mine." And so we said, "Okay." So we came out and looked at it, and before we knew it, with my dad's with us and our family, and my mother-in-law's with us, and we go out there, we look at the property, and this is our first time looking at it, and we sit down, and she's got all this paperwork drawn up, and we're like, "Okay, what's going on?" And so we get it, and she passes out the folder, and we look at it, and basically the gist of it is like, because of your faithfulness to the Lord, and we lead in our church, and it just kind of laid out this blueprint of like why she felt led to give us this property for really, really cheap, like just unbelievably cheap for an acre of land. And so we're all tearing up, and we're crying, and so like, all right, we feel like the Lord is definitely gonna do something. And so we keep moving forward with it. And long story short, the thing with my dad just was not working out because of the extreme down payment. So this same friend of ours, heard of our struggles and just said, "Well, what's the issue again?" And so we explained it to her, and she said, "Oh, well, I'll just loan you the money if that's the issue." So we were like, okay. And so now, mind you, we're not prosperity, gospel, health and wellness, name it, claim it type of people, right? But we were going through a fast at our church, and we had been crying out to God for this home situation. And one of our prayers was, God, we want you to do it to where, my dad doesn't get the glory, a realtor, a mortgage person doesn't get the glory, but we'll be able to sit back and we have to say, man, only God can do something like that. And he did. He literally did. And praise God, at the end of June, we'll be moving into our new house on our new property that's in our name, and we're broke, right? Essentially, we don't have a ton of money, but we're broke. And man, that just reminded me of the miracle of God in my life. That when I was to come to Him, I got bad credit, right? Like my sin, when my sin is added up, I got bad credit, and it just reminded me of how Jesus just stepped in my place and said, "Oh, I can cover that. I can pay your debt. I got you. Here's your new home." And that's the promise that we have, man. So um just a way to just remind ourselves, man, that Jesus paid that debt, and it's not a physical, financial debt like that, but just a cool reminder to me that the gospel is just in everything. So thanks, Velos, for giving this challenge. What a cool challenge, and hopefully this will encourage some of y'all who maybe have some times of doubt, and again, not in a prosperity gospel, health and wellness, name it, claim it kind of thing, but just a God who answers prayer. He is a God who answers prayer in his own way and in his own timing. So thank you, Los. God bless y'all.